Well, hello there, and welcome to something a bit different, I guess. You're probably a bit confused to see this on my channel because I've never really done anything like this, but I think this will be pretty fun. I've got kind of an interesting playthrough in mind here, and I think even if you aren't necessarily familiar with this game, you might find it interesting, so I think I'm just gonna jump right into things for now, and then I'll start explaining things as we go along. If you have no idea what this game is, basically, what it is a Pokemon fan game that involves basically fusing Pokemon together, just in like any combination you could think of, pretty much. It'll make a lot more sense once we're actually in-game, but I'm going to be playing kind of a special playthrough here. So we're going to be making a new game here, and I'm going to be playing on randomized mode. And you can customize your character's age here. I'll just go with the maximum, I guess. And I'll name myself Adol, because I'm a fan of the East games. And I think that'll do for now. Oops. Okay. So, we're gonna get into the settings here, where I choose all this stuff. It might be a bit dry, but you could just skip ahead if you don't care about this, but some of this might be interesting. So basically what's going to happen here is all the trainers in the game, they're going to be randomized. We're not going to be limiting it to Pokemon with custom sprites, and I'll explain what that's about later. Basically, there's like literally thousands of Pokemon in this game, and not all of them have very like nicely created customized sprites. Some of them are kind of like AI generated, and they look pretty much like garbage. So we're going to be doing something interesting with that in this playthrough. So normally I might want to just only play with the ones that people have made with or made custom sprites for, but this time we're going to say no to that, and I'm going to be doing something interesting with that. Randomized gym types, I'm going to say yes. We're going to have every gym is going to be just a completely random type, so we're not going to know what Pokemon types the gym leaders are going to use. Randomized trainer held items, we'll say yes to that. That might make things more interesting. Randomized starters, yes. Randomized wild Pokemon, yes. Randomized legendaries and static encounters, no, we're not going to be doing that. Randomized regular Pokemon to fusions. Basically what this would do is turn normal Pokemon in the wild into fused Pokemon, which, if you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. We're not going to be doing that. As far as the randomness degree, this is just kind of a technical thing, but I'm going to be going with values of 50 for trainers and wild Pokemon. Basically, just how random, how crazy things can get. Like, instead of, like, you can see this little diagram here. At 50, we're going to get kind of like Pokemon around the same or similar stat ranges. All right. Randomized items, we're going to say no, because if we say yes here, then we're going to get a bunch of like unimplemented buggy items. It's just a bad idea, so we're not going to do that. But I will randomize TMs, because I think that's interesting. So, starters on, all this. These are all correct. Okay, so while it's doing this, I'm going to explain a couple of things about this playthrough. First of all, this game kind of follows the Pokemon Red and Blue storyline, sort of. It's set in Kanto, and it goes through all the... Like, normally it would go through all the standard, like, Pokemon Red and Blue gyms and all that. However, this game is kind of like, I don't know, the randomized element and the fusions kind of add like a really good twist to it that makes it more interesting. So as far as my playthrough goes, I'm going to be doing kind of a slight Nuzlocke type thing, but not quite. So we're not going to skip the intro. We're actually going to let that play out just for people who haven't seen it before. We will use custom sprites, and we will not have autosave. Okay. Yeah, so this is basically the gimmick of this game. And I am not going to be reading the text in this game, so that's just not something I generally do, except in visual novels. So there's an example. We saw a couple on the title screen, but there's another example of like a fused Pokemon. This one is not one of the AI generated ones. This is an actual custom sprite that someone made. Alright, and yeah, so, like I said, I'm going to be doing kind of a slight Nuzlocke type thing, in the sense of, like, we're going to have a couple of rules, but it's not going to be a super strict thing. Alright, so we can now move. Okay, so first off, we'll grab the standard potion. Okay, so, the rules that I'm going to be using for this playthrough are, the first one is, when a Pokemon faints, it's kind of dead, but not really, because I think it's a little like, I don't know, Pokemon is really random sometimes, and it's possible to get just really cheap deaths sometimes, so basically the rule I like to use is, if you use a revive on it before the battle is over, then it survives. So, basically it gives you a chance to kind of save a Pokemon dramatically, but in a real, like, tough battle, it's probably not going to make a huge difference. You're not going to be able to revive everything you want. Yeah, but that rule is going to get more complicated when it comes to fusions. So basically, the rule I have it as it goes now is that once a Pokemon dies, or quote-unquote dies, if it's a fused Pokemon, I have to unfuse it. And then I have to only release one half of it. So, let's say I have like a Charmander and a Squirtle fused together. If that Pokemon faints, I have to get rid of either the Charmander half or the Squirtle half, but I get to keep one, and I can fuse that with something else later. So that's going to be kind of the rule that I'm going with in this playthrough. The other rule that I'm going to be using is that I can only ever catch one of any species of Pokemon, or its entire like evolution line. And that's pretty much just to make it so that we're going to be using I don't know, just a variety of stuff. Okay, it's naming me Red, and that is not the name that I picked. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I had to go back and fix my character's name, but that should be fixed now. There we go, Adol. Okay. Alright, so we just accept or apply to the Pokemon League, I guess, is the idea here. I played this game before, by the way, but I haven't actually beaten it. I just decided like halfway through that I really wanted to start a randomized playthrough. I figured it would be fun to record it. Okay, so his name is actually Blue, but we can give him a nickname. But I don't know. Like, there's something to me, I don't know. I don't like the idea of giving him a nickname when his name is actually Blue, so I think we're just gonna stick with Blue. And some people might not like that, but I don't know. I'm okay with that. So we're gonna go with Blue. I mean, to me, Blue is a character. He is the character from Gold and Silver. He's named Blue, right? So. Alright. Okay, yeah, so we can run. Yeah, so I'm gonna be kind of taking my time here. Alright, so, I guess the idea, it's honestly been a long time since I've actually played, the beginning of this game, so I guess the idea is just we're supposed to go to the lab. Okay, so maybe we are not actually. And we can't actually check what our starters are. As a rule, I'm not going to be reloading any of the randomness that we get. So, like, if we get really crappy starters, then that's what we're stuck with. I'm just going to have to deal with it. Okay, so I guess we actually have to leave and go to Viridian. Oh, there he is. Also, sorry if you can't read fast enough, but there's going to be a lot of text in this game, and it's Pokemon. The story doesn't matter that much, so... Okay, so we've got Delibird. Already, I'm a big fan of Delibird, but one problem with that is that it doesn't evolve into anything, and its stats are kind of crap. And we've got Krabby. I don't really like Krabby. And we've got Oddish. Oddish could be fun, actually, as a starter. By the way, in case you're wondering, the Pokedex for this game goes up to, I think, Generation 2, and then it just has, like, a few, like, maybe like 100 or so extra Pokemon from Gen 3 onward. But, then it's got all the, like, thousands of possible combinations of all those that can be put together. So, let's see. It's a toss-up between Delibird and Oddish. I think Delibird could make for some pretty fun fusions, but I think Oddish would give us a better chance at the game. So I think I'm gonna go with Oddish here. And as far as nicknames go, I know that everybody loves to give their Pokemon nicknames. Personally, I don't really care. I don't like to give nicknames, but I do have a rule here. If you happen to care about nicknames, you can leave a comment, claim a Pokemon as your own, and I'll give you whatever nickname you want it. Whoever, it's first come, first serve, so if somebody has an idea for a nickname or they just want me to name it after them, feel free. I'll do that. You can change nicknames easily anytime in the game, so don't have to worry about anything about that. So, oh, he's gonna take yeah. I forgot that's how this works. So he's gonna take Delibird and Krabby and mix them together. So I guess they're gonna get. I'll go into detail on how that works later, but we're gonna see here. Based on what he gets, which order he chose for it, because for each Pokemon, there's two different ways you can fuse them. You can fuse one as the head and the other as the body, or you can do it vice versa. So first, we're gonna save here. This is just a file I made to test. It doesn't actually have anything on it. Alright, so let's see what we're dealing with here. Delibee. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see that this sprite looks horrible. So, I think what I'm gonna do, we're not gonna do it right now, but what I'm gonna do in between this episode and the next one, and I'll splice it in as well, is I'm gonna create a custom sprite for that Pokemon, that Delibird and Krabby, and create one that looks a bit better. So I'm going to be doing that for every time I run into something that just looks horrible, and not necessarily all the time, but just anytime we find one that is just like atrocious, and it's probably something that we're going to be seeing a lot, like our rival characters' Pokemon like this. So luckily, I think we're I mean, he's Ice type. I think he might be. Yeah, I think he is Ice and Water right now. So. So luckily we have the upper hand here. If we lost our first Pokemon in the first battle, that would be a real shame. Okay, so before we can really get into things, we do have to go find that parcel. I think we might get some Pokeballs when we do that. Before anything else, I'm gonna try and rest, though. I think you do that by talking to her. Yeah. I am gonna be saving often, but I'm gonna try not to reload in cases where it's just completely unwarranted. Honestly, this playthrough could end. I don't think it will, but this playthrough could potentially end with just, like, catastrophic failure and the game becomes uncompletable or something. But I don't think that'll happen. Okay, so I have no idea what kind of wild Pokemon we're going to run into in this first route here. It looks like we got a Diglett, which is good because we can beat that. Okay. Honestly, Oddish is a really good Pokemon to start with for this particular playthrough because it's got Absorb, so it's got that survivability. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to basically just, as soon as we get a Pokemon, basically as soon as we get Pokeballs, I'm going to try and catch something, anything, and we're going to fuse Oddish with that, whatever it is. It's not going to be something we do all the time, but just for the first time, I definitely want to go with something like just completely unexpected, random. Not necessarily a Diglett, but if we end up with a Diglett, then, you know, we end up with it. Yeah, they've got a couple of fourth wall breaking tips and stuff like that, but we're not going to worry about that too much right now. It's like a lot of Digletts on the first route. Okay, yeah, so the items aren't randomized, but the TMs are. Okay, so this is actually going to be a problem, because this is poison type, which, I don't know. I might run away from this. Yeah. I'm going to kind of be cowardly sometimes, because I don't want to lose our Pokemon early on. We can be a bit more risky later. I don't know if I'm going to be, like, editing out battles or anything, but we'll see. If they get too repetitive, then I might. The sand attacks are going to get pretty annoying. Right, was there an item over here? No. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we can go there. I know pretty much everything about Fusion already, but that might be a good way to kind of, like, just introduce everything to everyone else here. So let's take a look in here. Okay, so Pokemon Fusion. So we have to use DNA slicers. They cost 500. We're gonna have to buy a lot of those. So yeah, for each fusion, one Pokemon is the head and one's the body. Oops. Okay, so the typing of it is basically I believe the head is the first half of their name, and well, it'll say this. Yeah, the head's first type and the body's second type, if it's a dual type Pokemon. Otherwise, it's the body's first type. Yeah, so Butterfree, Bug, and Flying, with a Tentacool, Water, Poison. So it would be Bug and Poison. Yeah, and some of the types have been changed up so that it works better. We could go into detail on, like, all the stuff like evolution. Like, basically, fused Pokemon evolve together. We don't need to go into too much detail on that. We'll see it in action. Movesets, they share movesets between all the Pokemon, like both of the Pokemon at once. The stats, there's a whole formula for how their stats work. I won't go into it here. Abilities, I believe we get to choose which one. There is no breeding in the game yet. There might be later. The game's still being worked on, but they might add breeding, but right now there isn't any. Unfusing, we just use a DNA slicer on it, and it also unfuses. Let's see. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, this game has Fairy type and everything. It has all the latest up-to-date mechanics. Oh yeah, all the trade Pokemon, apparently we can just get them by leveling them up to a level 40, which is fine. Yeah, there is a wiki. Alright. So I think that covers pretty much everything we need to know here. Alright, cool. So we got some DNA splicers. But we don't have any Pokeballs yet, so... can't actually catch something to fuse with. I definitely want to fuse something as early as possible, because if we lose this Pokemon now, I don't want to lose it forever. I want to just lose whatever we attach to it. But that's also risky, because if we lose something good that's attached to it, that means we can't attach that Pokemon to any... with the rules I'm using, we can't attach that Pokemon to any Pokemon in the future. So, like, let's say we get, like, a good Pokemon, like let's say we get a Diglett, and we want to put a Diglett on something else in the future. We can't do that if we lose the Diglett early on, so that's something we have to keep in mind here. Alright. Let's deliver that package. kind of still basically in the tutorial here. We haven't really gotten into anything yet. Yeah, you will, your Pokemon does level down a bit when you unfuse them, but it's not that big a deal. Yeah, over 120,000 different types of Pokemon in this game. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing some variety here. Alright, I'm just gonna make a save real quick. And whatever we get here, I'm just gonna try and catch it. Okay, I guess we're getting a Diglett. Okay, so now I have to think about, do I want, do I want Oddish as the head, or do I want Diglett as the head? Okay, we actually have to catch it as well. Okay, there we go. Okay, so he's ground type. We're not gonna nickname him for now. Okay, so Oddish is grass and poison. So do I want a poison and ground, or a grass and ground? I think I want a grass and ground. Let me just look something up on my phone real quick. I want to look up the type affinities here. So let's say grass and ground. That would take 4 times damage from ice, it would take 2 times damage from flying, bug, and fire, and it'd be resistant to ground and rock, and it would take nothing from electricity. Then we could also go ground and poison. That would take 2 times from ground, water, psychic, and ice. I think I'm gonna go with grass and ground. Yeah, we're gonna do that. So Oddish is gonna be the head, and Diglett is gonna be the body. So, if we think about this right, it should look like a Diglett with a little... It should basically look like an Oddish in the ground, like a Diglett, is how I imagine it's gonna look. So let's try and see if we can make that happen. I think we have to go like this. No. Like this. I'm not sure. I think it would be like this. I'm gonna save first because I want to make sure that we do it right. And I am gonna reload if I do it wrong, because I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right. Okay, I think this is it. So it should end up being called like Oddlet or something. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna actually make a better sprite for this, because right now it doesn't have like the grass coming out of its head or anything like that, and I want that, so that's gonna be another thing that we do between episodes. You can ignore the Pokedex entry there, it's just nonsense. They're all just basically nonsense. Sand Veil or Chlorophyll. I don't know what these are. Let me just look these up real quick. Okay, so Sand Veil increases their evasion in a sandstorm, and chlorophyll increases their speed in sunlight. I think we're going to go with chlorophyll for now. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to go with chlorophyll. Okay, so we got Audlet now. So let's take a look at our new Pokemon here. We've got normal, or we've got Scratch, Sand Attack, Absorb, and Sweet Scent. What is Sweet Scent again? Lowers evasiveness, okay. So basically just Absorb, Scratch, and Sand Attack. Alright, so I'm gonna go back and... I am going to try and heal. Actually, I should not be doing this. I should be running right now. Uh-oh. Okay. Luckily the ground typing saved us here. Yeah, I wouldn't mind catching an Ekans. Alright, so now that we have our rivals Pokemon and we have our Pokemon, I'm going to be stopping here for now, and I'm going to slice in basically me editing together the sprites that we're going to be having from now on. I'm going to make those up, and we just put them in a certain folder in the game, and it uses them like no problem, so we'll see how that turns out. So, I will see you in a moment when that's all done.